Why is it almost impossible to ban weapons in the United States? In the state of Nevada, every 20 hours a person dies by a gun. And in the United States, were more deaths by mass shootings in 2017 than the year's had days so far, and 2017 is not a special case. When we talk to people outside the U.S., they often ask, why are you not banning weapons in the United States? And the answer is usually a little surprising for U.S. citizens. But the question is and remains legitimate, and the answer is a little more complex than most people would guess. Why is a quick and easy ban not possible, especially after horrible shootings like the Las Vegas shooting on October 1, 2017? Because on December 15, 1791, the Second Amendment was adopted in the Constitution of the U.S. stating the following: "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." And even if one could argue that there are several ways to interpret this sentence differently, it was decided by court that it means any law-abiding citizen in the United States is allowed to own or carry a gun. It is, therefore, a fundamental right, such as the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. This makes it easier to understand how complicated it can be if one wants to change a fundamental right. So what is needed to change the law and to regulate weapons? The voices of the Congress. The United States Congress is the bicameral legislature of the federal government of the United States, consisting of two chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives, and a three-quarter majority would be needed to bring about a change in the Constitution. So why do those politicians not vote for a ban on weapons? There are politicians, like Barack Obama, who demand a regulation on weapons. After the Oregon shooting in October 2015, he said, "We are not the only country on earth that has people with mental illnesses or want to do harm to other people. But we are the only advanced country on earth that sees these mass shootings every few months." But there are also clear opponents of these politicians. The National Rifle Association, NRA, the largest and most powerful organization of the weapon lobbying groups, is pumping millions into campaigns of Republican candidates for Congress to ensure that weapon laws are not tightened. They are also rating politicians in a ranking system. The best grade is given to those who are fighting for boundless freedom of arms. Anyone who advocates moderate legal changes is punished by the NRA and is no longer financially supported. Donald Trump, presidential candidate of the Republicans, had already received the support of the weapons lobbies after publicly proclaiming himself in defense of the Second Constitutional Amendment.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
In a statement from Executive Vice President Wayne LaPierre, National Rifle Association, 1 week after the mass shooting of the Hook Elementary School in 2012, and displays the overall opinion of this lobbying group in a nutshell. Does the NRA have so much money and power because most of the Americans are gun owners or against regulations on weapons? This would explain the wealth of the NRA. But no, the majority of American adults, 78%, do not have any weapons, and 55% of the American population see a regulation on weapons as necessary. Only 11% demand less strict gun laws, and 33% are okay with the law right now. Where do the subsidies come from, which support the free arms legislation and its representatives? They come from a small part of the population, mostly from rural areas, which are against regulations of weapons. These supporters, however, strongly support their conviction of free arms possession. So the amount of money they donate to their stakeholders is 5 times higher per person compared to other donors in political matters. It should not be misunderstood that now every human being can acquire a weapon in the USA. Certain people are banned from owning weapons, including convicted criminals, people with mental health diseases, or non-U.S. citizens. It is illegal for private citizens to possess fully automatic firearms manufactured after May 19, 1986. Ownership of earlier models requires a federal license. In addition to the constitutional law on a weapon, each state in the USA regulates its own weapons laws. In some states, citizens need a license to own a weapon, must go through background checks, and safely lock and store the gun. In other states, however, all of this is not necessary. Like in Florida, no such measures are necessary to own or buy a weapon. So what can be expected after the mass shooting in Las Vegas on changes in the weapons regulations? The gunman Stephen Paddock used so-called bump stocks to modify his semi-automatic and legal weapons to accomplish a fire rate of 540 rounds per minute, which is comparable to an illegal fully automatic weapon. This cheap plastic modification has been rated as an accessory according to American law and has the effect that the finger continuously exerts pressure on the trigger of the weapon. After the Democrats demanded a ban from the bump stocks, Trump, senators of the Republicans, and representatives of the NRA surprisingly agreed to have a look into the problematic. This could be assessed as a first step for a regulation of weapons, but it should also be noticed that in the same week, Jeff Duncan, a Republican, with the support of the NRA, tries to achieve easier approval of silencers for guns in Congress. Although many people fled on the 1st of October 2017 because they could hear the shots fired from the 32nd floor of the hotel.